God has not promised me sunshine. That's not the way it's going to be. But God has not promised me sunshine. That's not the way it's going to be. But a little rain mixed with love, sunshine, a little pain makes me appreciate the good times. Be grateful. Grateful. God desires to fill your longing, every pain that you feel. He fills them just like you. But he can't afford to let you feel only good. Then you can appreciate the good times. Be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful. Because there's someone now who's worse off than you. Be grateful. Because there's someone Anybody in the house grateful? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be grateful. Oh, be. Oh, yeah. Somebody need to take this message home. Say, be. Oh, be grateful. See, he didn't have to wake you up this morning. Be. See, he didn't have to start you on your way. Say, be. He didn't have to wake you up in your right mind. Say, be. Somebody woke up and didn't have the activity of their limbs. Oh, oh, that's why I'm grateful. Somebody woke up and couldn't talk this morning. Hey, somebody woke up and couldn't brush their teeth this morning. Hey, somebody woke up and couldn't see this morning. Hey, so be, simple message says, be grateful. For it will be alright. Anybody know it's gonna be alright? Anybody grateful because you know it's gonna be alright? Hallelujah!
Oh, come on, you gotta praise him like you're grateful. Oh, come on, say, come on, praise him like you're grateful. Praise him like you're grateful. Praise him like you're grateful. Last time around, say, be grateful. If God has done anything for you, show some sign. Be grateful. Yeah.
We are definitely having technical difficulties today. Definitely having technical difficulties. I thought I fixed it. I thought I repaired it. I thought I figured it out, but I didn't. So we want to do what we can do the best way we can do. And so if it get cut off this time, we're going to try it another time later today. But yeah, we're definitely having technical. We had it last week, and I thought I fixed it because I did another show last night, and it worked. And so maybe I didn't fix it. So we might have to design a whole new studio in order to get whatever glitch that we're having out. So I'm going to be working, rebuilding what the Inspirational Sunday looks like. And then when I save that as a file, hopefully that whatever glitches we have will be gone. But I appreciate if anybody's been watching, if they're looking and saying, hey, something's happening and stopping, it's not working. Well, but thank you for sticking around. And if you just popped in, yeah, we have the technical difficulties, but we're going to let the spirit flow and see how it go. And if it doesn't work now, I'll definitely do it later this evening. And I've been thinking about doing children's church or Sunday service at a different time, so it doesn't conflict with the adult service. All right? Meditate on that. And maybe this is what's been, the spirit has been leading. I'm accepting it. We'll be changing the time of Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday, so it doesn't conflict with the adult service, and so maybe they may be needing my services, and we may be able to have access to the children also at a different and better time, and then our algorithm might be rebuilt because we're in the process of rebuilding the algorithm. So we'll see. But today is that Black History Month, and so the concept that came up with was the fact that your future is Black history. Your future is Black history. And that, when I had to put both of them up there because you can't get to your future without your past. And if you understand your past, you'll realize your present and you know where your future is. And so I had to do, and I should have did three, the past, present, and future, but we're going to deal with the past. Well, it is, because if you see the young boy, that's the present. So the chemic image is our past. The young gentleman is our present. And if you see the Afrocentricity, when Black people are on this earth completely enlightened to the point where their eye glow. Yeah. Past, present, and future. Your future is Black history. Again, your future is Black history. And a lot of times when we looking at Black history, we talk about our Black history in the United States. And that's very limiting. When you talk about Black history, trying to find the reason to celebrate and honor those who have gone before, but we're going to take this thing so far back. We're going to deal with American history. We're going to add some African history and some spiritual awareness in that history. That's this journey today. Because we don't want you just studying Black history, which is just the American version of who we are. Because taken out of the contents of what has happened to us, you never understand why we were fighting the way we were fighting. We weren't just fighting because of slavery. We were fighting because a lot of us understood that our history was deeper. The study of Black history is also the study of African history. And that's the part you got to get. It's the study of both. You can't study one without the other. So like if you were in Panama, you have to study Panamanian Black history, American history, a little, but definitely African history. You're in Brazil. You want to study Brazilian history and African history. When you start studying Brazilian history, you start dealing with the transatlantic slave trade and how you got there, and you see the diaspora. You might come across the different areas because studying Black history here, we're talking about the slave trade we get to know about the other regions where we were dropped off. If you were from Jamaica, you study Jamaican history and African history. A lot of times we stop at the location of our diasporic place. That's where we are as Africans. But you gotta study both. You gotta study both. So when you sit down and you talk about Black history, I need you to see yourself going as far back and giving as much honor and veneration and gratitude for the journey, not only of your geologic location, but going beyond that geological location and the beginning of where we started. Because that's going to help you understand the individuals that you study in your Black history journey. Because you have tons and tons and tons of people that knew who, if we only dealing with Black history, they knew about who they were before we hit the United States. They knew the greatness of what we, or who we were as a people, what we did on the continent of Africa. Africa has many nations within the continent. I think, that's the largest continent on the planet. But when you look at a globe, they show you two of you real small, like it is not the center of the earth, but that's not true. It is one of the largest places. I don't know if our Antarctica was like the larger, you know what I mean? Like the cold areas, some cold areas real large. I'm sorry, we'll get back into geography a little later. But individuals knew about greatness. They knew of the empires that was built. This is Mansa Musa, considered the richest man in history. If he would go across into another country or area in Africa, he could change the demographics by just throwing money in the air. The richest man considered in history. We had a conversation between me and Kasonga and Yaya about Solomon versus Mansa Musa, who was richer, because everybody says King Solomon was the most richest person in history. I said, well, that's when they separate religion and state. Do you really want to study history or the Bible as a historical experience? Or are you trying to separate that from regular life? And that's something that we have to look at. I said, I want to challenge that. How rich was King Solomon versus how rich was Mansa Musa? And then in the time frame, did they come across each other? Did they trade with each other? I don't know. That's something to study. But you have to look at, in Black history, people knew. If you sit down and look at the faces of where we come from, they knew who we were before we got here. They knew who we were before we got here. You couldn't pick an individual that we celebrate and honor in Black history in the Americas who were not aware of our greatness way before slavery. So you sit down and say, I'm trying to be, or you try to find somebody to fashion yourself after. But you got to you got to go to the point where they were inspired, where it wasn't only their social conditioning that made them fight so hard. It was also the remembering or the knowing who they were called to be. And when you know who you're called to be, there's an issue with those who are around you who don't have. And so we have Black history looking to say, hey, we read now, we write now, we study now. Let me go beyond the books that they tell us to read and see what they saw. Now, when you deal with the European society, coming waging war on the African nations, because it doesn't matter where in Africa you were at. They all came after that continent. They knew that. Every historian or every person we study knew that we were greater in our history. And they knew we were greater in God. They say that the slaves existed from a state of knowing. A knowing. There were stories. Somewhere in that family was a storyteller that told them the stories of who we were. Who we were in the war we went through to get here. The greatness, the wisdom. They function from a state of knowing. Why do you think they can go through what they went through? Because they knew in their souls, in their bones, and in their spirits when they would creep off at night and dance around the fire and speak into their native language and then come back and tell the stories of who they were from the motherland, not from this foreign land. And so their fight was to get back to who God called us. And so they told stories from generation to generation to generation. Because they knew the future that they lived in was not telling the true story of the past in which they came from. So they were having battles within. Some of them accepted the condition, a lot of them didn't. And those who didn't, who understood that it's not just about the history or the narrative that America was giving us. It was about the narrative that we knew. And that's what made us last so long. We're trying to get back to who we are. And so when they make that statement, on the shoulders of giants. On the shoulders of giants. That's not just Black history in America. The slaves were giants. They were actually stronger than everybody else because they had to endure more atrocities. They were giants. They lived from a knowing. Their faith was unbreakable. And they were able to take it. Their faith was able to endure the physical abuse. They were giants. So when you sit down and say, on the shoulders of giants, this generation that fought for our civil rights, they knew it too, who we were. They said, yeah, we fighting to get back to our grand identity. And so when you, again, say the phrase on the shoulders of giants, you go back as far as time can tell. This is why Black history on a daily basis is important. Because only doing it once a month in the confines of our restrictions of only focusing on American Black history, you don't get the full power of who we are. That's what hurts. That's the problem. You can't do that. You got to get to the full power of who we are. I had an echo going on. Now, hopefully I killed that echo. Right? So I apologize for the echo. Again, told you, technical difficulties. This was all crazy, but we back on track. I had to notice it. So I had to listen. So the full power of who we are, standing on the shoulders. And this is why when we think about the slaves and we talk about the journey and we have that phrase, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Because in the dream of the slave and in the dream of the civil rights leaders, they knew that we're going to get to a point where we're going to be able to have our offspring produce a life according to what we can imagine. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. So how far back are your concepts of your ancestors go? If it dates back to Mansa Musa, to Shaka Zulu, to Queen Nzinga, if it dates back to Kemet, to Kush, where Africa was the center of the world, you understand that their wildest dreams was a black being, a melanated being who were deeply conscious and connected to the Creator and each other. So it's not only the fact that they knew in history, but in every spiritual discipline that comes out of the continent, they understood the power of who we were, even through the situations of slavery, oppression, being colonized. The colonizer. Y'all better go watch Black Panther again and realize the history that they all referring to. When it came to take, wasn't theirs. And anytime you find yourself in that situation where they knew who we were, every European country had to come to the continent of Africa to get something. Food, resources, whatever it was. They all had to buy it from empires. And they said if we take over the empire, we can control the resources. And that's exactly what it took. Centuries of stripping the melanated nations of control of their own resources, because they knew how special we were to God. They said it's unfair in their own minds because we were willing to share. And so to them, they figured, well, why should we ask them? Let's just take it. We weren't a violent people like that. We were willing to share everything and didn't understand that our own children, because every race comes from the African group, the African genotype. They all come from it. We'll get to that. So we go back and date, because that was that when you talk about the Black history and the greatness of who we are and the struggle, when we hit struggle, they didn't understand how hard we could fight, because we came from that. We came from the greatness of struggling up. From when God placed first man and woman on earth in his image, we understood it. And so our concept of Black history dates from every spiritual discipline that walks the planet, that is studied on earth. Every spiritual discipline, is not one that does not date back to the motherland. Not one. They just don't want you to think. They don't want you to see your own face, so they depict everything in their face. But in the beginning, there was a conversation that God had with the beings he placed on the planet, and the blessing that he placed in those beings from the beginning. We study in Black history, because this is Black history. And you cannot truly appreciate the struggle of what happened in the Americas if you can't understand what happened from the beginning of time, and why the Black people in the Americas and all of the diaspora put up arms, especially in Haiti. Haiti, they were like, look, we know who we are, and we ain't taking it. They fought down. Them and Liberia, I believe it was. I think it was. Liberia. Yeah. Never colonized. Haiti was like, look, we know it, and we're going to fight. And in the middle of slavery, we're going to be a free nation. But then, and again, we talked about trade and resources. Haiti was making France rich off of sugar because they knew how to plant. They knew how to grow. They knew how to develop. Yeah, this is still spiritual inspiration. I got you. Walk with me because I'm going to show you how your future is Black history. Because in the beginning, God made you a promise. And when I say you, I'm going to talk plural. No, singular. Your you is every melanated being on this planet. Because we all come from that one gene, that mitochondrial. I always have a problem saying it. The African gene, make it short. And so in that space, God made you a promise. God spoke to us as a people and said, look, you are a chosen race. I call you to be a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people of his own possession. God said, you belong to me. They knew. It was a spiritual understanding. In Genesis it says, and through your offsprings, all nations of the earth will be blessed because you obeyed my voice. Now, when we stop obeying God's voice is when, wrong things are happening. You start letting Caucasians in, and that's how Kemet fell. Because they weren't following the steps or the proper spiritual disciplines they needed to maintain and sustain God's favor. What happens to us as a people is not an individual curse. It's a collective thing because we have to continue obeying. And as time went on, we listened. We kept praying. We worked it out until we got here. Where our children have an opportunity to correct what God has promised, right or wrong. Where we will become all of our offspring. So your future, you are your ancestors' wildest dreams, where we are now all over the globe. There's no place on this planet that we don't exist. All we have to do is become one in God again. And that's fairly easy. That's fairly easy. As you slowly walk into your eye. And again, I want you to understand why your future is Black history. And so this happens under one scenario, and Black folk all over are focusing on becoming one in God's voice, one in God, so that we can all hear, do, and live by the instructions of the divine. Not by your any other man. What did God call you to do? And there are two things that he said. First, if you can do this, I can work through you. And that's love God with everything you have. And then love your brother as yourself. I forgot to take the Umi says, but it can be working on this one. Umi says, shine your light on the world. That's the instrumental playing in the background. And shining your light is loving God with everything you got. All your mind, all your heart, all your soul. And loving everybody that's melanated as though they were you. In that, God grants you powers and abilities. So, take your time and just find yourself in the reserve. Relax before you enter into studying and giving homage to Black history, past, present, and future. I want you to know that your future is Black history. Because everything that we hoped for as a people is manifested in you. So take the time and relieve whatever stress comes your way. We got physical issues, we got emotional issues, we got spiritual issues, that mental illnesses, and we said that I'm not going to use that word. The level of mental fitness needs to increase because they've been working on it in our children. And so we want you to relax into understanding that you are the greatest thing that our history can produce right now. It's all you, and everything you produce is Black history because it should be working toward becoming what God had called us to be. And that was a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, people of his own. And from who we are, everybody around us is to be blessed. There is not a European continent on this blue globe that is not blessed by the continent of Africa. And Africa knows that when they get control back from everybody who has their hands in their soil, and when Black people from all over the diaspora come together, everybody on this planet will be blessed according to who we are. Period. It is written. Every spiritual discipline will lead you to an awareness of your greatness in God. If you study it from its truth, this is what we're supposed to be producing. That's what's Black history. So just relax. Don't get stressed out about Black history, what you know, what you don't know. You are Black history. So when you love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, your light coming out. When you love people who look like you as yourself, your light coming out. The next thing I want you to do, as you find that peace, is begin to allow your mind to visualize who you are in the Creator. Because everybody's got gifts, everybody's got talents, everybody's got attributes, everybody has the ability to produce something wonderful in the name of the Creator. And that doesn't matter how you're going to call him. The Lord God Almighty, Jehovah Jireh, Elohim, Allah. Some of us want to call him Buddha. It's okay. It doesn't matter. You could be Yoruba, Ifa, Igbo, Dangbani. It doesn't matter. Surrender to the greater supreme spirit that brought forth us. And look at all the history of who we are, not just a fraction of it. And see yourself in every step. And then begin to imagine, what are you here to give to the world? What are you here to give to earth? What are you here to give your people? And how are you going to treat your people that will help us bless everybody else? Because we've been doing it. Sometimes in the period of time, we were doing it by force. But other races don't understand. We will help and give, and you don't have to force us. Why? Because we are people of God. That's what they're scared of. That's what they were frozen. Oh, they are God's original people. We need to take control. Yeah. This world is under dominion of you. It's under the control of you. They said, oh, God gave the world to the devil. Nah. You have dominion over everything. Everything. You just got to walk in your power. So allow your mind to visualize what is within as it connects to your history. And begin to do you to the best you can do. Because the other part is when you start visualizing certain things and looking at certain things and studying certain things, because I always tell y'all, it is not just in your history that you're great. It's in your DNA. We were built for this thing called life. We were built for the struggle. We were built for the fight. We were built to succeed. Because it says in the beginning, get to that. In the beginning, God made man and woman. Well, man as in mankind. And the first species of mankind was the African. And everything after that developed into Black history. So your future is Black history. Because when you grow up, grow old, and then you transition, everything you did will be looked at as like, wow, that's what they did. In the beginning, God gave us DNA that guaranteed us success. That's why I tell you, you are God's science. You are God's technology. You are God's engineering. You are God's artwork. You are God's mathematics. So yes, your future is Black history. It's something that we should read about and something that we should study about and something that we should be happy about. We knew that we were divinely created by God to be great in this day and time. We knew that we were divinely created and designed by God to be great, even in our struggles. We knew in this time that we were divinely created to do great and wonderful things, to overcome and be and exist in this world as powerful as we are. We knew that every generation comes after another generation stands on the shoulders of giants. And after a while, you will realize in your own time where you take to go within yourself to allow your imagination to grow, that you are a giant as well. You are crafted by the Creator with, this is coming, a light within. You have a light within. Everything you do will manifest greatness. Your future is Black history guaranteed. As long as you do those two things, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and your brother as thyself, after a while, your gift will come wheeling out. And we will speak of who and who you are and what you did. Let that light in you. I like the way she's touching the sunlight. And that even also might be a mudra. I know my mudra is this. Mudra is how you meditate. Yeah, they may tell you it's Indian, but it's African. But we said this is the year of walking into your greatness. Walking in that golden 23-year journey. And so once you realize that you can go beyond the study of the Americas, but go from beginning in time, you'll realize why Fannie Lou Hamer fought so hard. You realize why Ida B. Wells fought so hard. Why Marcus Garvey fought so hard. Malcolm X fought. Elijah Muhammad fought. Oh, Jaramogi Baby Ajamin fought so hard. Because it was a light in them coming out. Because they knew how far back our greatness goes. And the fact that we are supported by infinite divine powers. It's the powers of the Creator. It's how we are supported by infinite divine powers. Ain't that something? And when you can do that, you walk into your gold status.
you will become the you. And the greatest you is the greatest. They said certain individuals can only be the greatest of all time. So I'm like, that's a measurement of you. In this moment in your life, are you the greatest person that you could possibly be to manifest the power of God within? You can answer that. You can either be honest with yourself or tell yourself a lie. Be honest. Because if you can be honest after a while, you're growing into something greater, something better, something bigger. If you're not, but if you know that you are doing what God is doing, and every time I hear God, I do it. I hear God, I do it. Why? Because I want to experience myself every moment I possibly can being the greatest of all time. Do I need some work? Yes. Am I great? Yes. I remember talking to a friend and I was like, look, if I'm up here, you need to get up here with me so you can help me stay level. But if I'm up here, I'm looking great. But if you're only looking for me from down here, I need you to see me up here. I see you up here and I know where you can be and where you can go and what you can do, and it's infinite. It's infinite. And so, but when you hit your head or you bump into something, if we up here together, I can see it and I can talk to you about it. And so I open up more and more to show my strengths and my weaknesses, because you always need other people helping you to become your GOAT, to get to your GOAT status, your greatest of all time. And when you open to that and you're giving God all your heart, mind, and soul, and you loving your brothers thyself, your gifts come out, that light come out, then we know that you are, without a shadow of a doubt, you know where we're going, that the African in you is rising. Rise of the African, and that's all over. We're supposed to bless the nations, the other nations. There's one black nation, one black planet. We all the people. We might be different sects of people, but we one people. And we gave birth to other races. But we teach the other races how to be a people. If they never had the culture, they never understood the true power of who they are. And so a lot of people are studying African culture, studying black history, which is also the study of African history, which is also the study of our relationship in God. When you can get that deep into it, you'll realize how powerful you are, and everything that you do is blessed by the Creator. And you are destined to rise. The African in you is destined to come out and connect and build and grow. I say that. There was a couple of things that I was asked, and I'm gonna keep moving. Do not go through the rest of Black history without connecting yourself to all our history, not just American history. If you can find history in another continent where someone did great in that continent, but they were melanated, that's your history. Understand why. It is because they knew who we were in God. They knew who we are. It's just who we are. It's in our DNA. No other race can stand the sun the way we stand the sun. We are genetically built to be on this planet. Genetically built to be on this planet. There was a research done on genotype. Now, in order for them to make medicine, they have to figure out what. We're going to talk about you being the stem of God, the steam of God. Now, they wanted to make medicine. And normally when they make medicine, they don't put the Black genotype in consideration. That's why sometimes when Black people take medicine, it has to be stronger than what white people take, because our gene is stronger than theirs, just genetically done. So the sister was saying, for us to create better medicine, we have to know what it's like to be healthy. what does a healthy gene looks like. So when we create medicine, and medicine is only but the manipulation of melanin. So the less melanin you create medicine, you got to create your melanin to do different things because it harmonizes all your organs. The more melanin, you know, you might need a little stronger because the medicine that they made was made for individuals with less melanin. So you need doses. That's why I say, oh, you can handle pain. No, I hurt, but they don't want to give you medication. Why? Because they think you were prone to be addicted. But anyway, there was a study. This Caucasian lady, European descent, went to Africa to make the study on its people. So she's trying to understand, how can you go in the desert and run and live in the desert for 7 days in the sun with no water? 7 days in the sun with no water. Run out and you just running, hunting. You ain't find no water and run back. This African brother looked at her and said, you want to know why? All I need is a sip of water for 7 days. It's because it's in my blood. There are people on that continent that ain't never been tainted, and they've been in that environment, and their genotype adapted to the environment. Where if there's not a lot of water, it's okay, because all they need is just and they go hunting for 7 days in that hotness. Now, I can't tell you I can handle that. I can tell you I come from that. So I'm tapping into the greatest part of me. God's science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics that is built inside my DNA. So that my future becomes Black history. The light in me begins to shine. I walk in my gold status, and I'm everything that God has called me to be. Say that. I'm going to let the light in me shine. I'm going to let my gifts come out. And I'm going to be all that the Creator called me to be. Because my future is Black history. I will be the greatest me in every moment. Because now with technology, we live in a world where you don't have to wait to access your gold status. You just got to know who you are, whose you are, and what you're called to do. In that space, the rise of the African is guaranteed. This is what I'm called to do. And I'm called to do it just to inspire you to even be greater. But with that being said and done, I could say one love, but I don't see my exit video. It's supposed to click my exit video, and it's supposed to go back, and it's supposed to read technological issues. We're gonna keep talking until we figure, I figure out where I put it. Sorry. Have a beautiful day. It's Black History Month. Be the history you read. Read history until you become it.
Black community has come to the place now where everything that's done by government or by private industry or by any Blue Ribbon Committee has to recognize self-determination, and self-determination is the foundation upon which all relationships with the Black community are to be built.